Boker Tov, Musar Lifers. I hope that you were able to listen a few days ago to this teaching about the morning, the significance of searching for Adonai in the morning, searching for Him, the importance of sanctifying your mornings. So I'm going to try just to cover a few things here that will help you in your daily retrieval of manna. So there is a precedent for sanctifying your mornings with the Mishlei, Proverbs of Musar. Exodus 16:21 is where we're going to find this, and it says, "They gathered it morning by morning, every man as much as he should eat. But when the sun grew hot, it would melt." So this is very interesting. So you go and you look up the word morning, and it kind of looks like this. Morning by morning, the mouth supply, he or she gathered. The word for supply or food is akel, from the two-letter root kaf and lamed, meaning complete and whole. Okay. Therefore, the manna from heaven, which the Israelites went out to retrieve morning by morning, they went out and they gathered it. So they had to leave their tents. They had to go out and gather it in the morning. This food, this supply, is the original whole food, right? It's the nutrient-dense food that sustains us and causes us to truly live and invigorates us and energizes us. So Yeshua, when he was being tempted by the enemy in the wilderness, he told the enemy, he said, "For it is written that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God." So it's like Adonai is raining down the manna for you morning by morning to go out and feeding us like a mama feeds the birds, nurtures and sustains her baby birds. So the morning by morning is a word that I want us to think about, because sanctifying our mornings is a part of humbling ourselves to seek the Lord. Okay, so even the word morning is boker. So the verb root of the word boker is bakar, and that means to inquire. So another way to read that verse is, they went out and they gathered it. When they inquired morning by morning, they went out inquiring at the break of dawn every day, as much as he should eat. Now here's what's interesting about that. When they went out and gathered it, that's the only time that the manna fell. So they had to go gather it, because if they didn't gather it, then the sun would grow hot and it would melt. Now, if they didn't go out and gather it, they didn't have anything for their household. For the entire day, there was nothing for their household. So when we go out morning by morning and we sanctify the first part of our day, we are gathering and gleaning this manna from heaven that is whole food that will nurture and sustain not just us, but our entire families. So the second thing I wanted to talk to you about was this word for humble. So if you've been following along, paying attention, you've been noticing lots of incredible words about the significance of humility, because unless we have humility, unless we humble ourselves, we cannot receive from the kingdom of heaven. And we will never be delivered. We will never have our nefesh. What is nefesh? Our soul. That means our appetites, our emotions, our desires, our limited intellect. That can never be transformed. Now, where do we get this? We get this from Yaakov 1:21, James 1:21, where he's teaching and he says, "In humility, receive the word implanted, which has the power to keep delivering your nefesh." We're supposed to continue to be delivered by this word. Yeshua said, in John 8, if You abide in my word, you are truly my disciples. You will know the truth, and the truth will continue to liberate you. Okay, but the truth will not liberate us if we're not abiding in the truth. And we're not even able to receive the truth unless we've humbled ourselves. So, some interesting words in the Hebrew for humble. One of them is anava, and that means to look intently. It has the picture, the Hebrew word picture of looking intently from a low position. In great need, you're looking up to the Father. You have a great need. You have a burrow that's even formed in between your eyes because you're looking so intently to God and to the things of God for your sustenance. That's one word, okay? That's one word picture. The other word is the word shafal. Let me go find it here. Shafal. Let's see if I can get to it here. And when you go and you study what these words are showing you in the Hebrew, let's see if I can't find it here. Sorry, it's not shafal, that's a different word, which also lends itself to great significance. That's like the third word, but the second word I want to talk to you about is shach. Shach, and it's phonetically spelled S-H-A-C-H, shach. So the way you spell it, the Hebrew letters are shin and chet. Now, when you study these Hebrew letters, you're going to understand that shin means to bite through and destroy, and chet is the wall. So shach means to destroy the wall. And we're going to find that in Job. Let's see, it's going to be Job 22. Let's see here, Job 22, 29, I believe. Okay, and it talks about Eliphaz is speaking to Job, and he says, when you are cast down, you will speak with pride, but the humble person he will save. This is interesting, the humble person. That word is shach, and it literally means the low eye, to have the low eye. It's a very interesting word, and you're going to contrast that, obviously, with what? The haughty eye, which is the lamp of the wicked, right? So we're going to have the low eye. Now, how do we have the low eye, right? This is our action to humble ourselves. And where I'm going with this is we want the low eye. Every morning we go out and we retrieve, we're saying to the Father, I am making myself of the low eye because I need you. Now, there are ways that we can give ourselves the low eye. There are ways that we can humble ourselves and not operate in that lamp of the wicked, which is the haughty eye, which brings me to your engagement in the group. There are 3 ways for you to cast down and put out the haughty eye and give yourself the low eye that Yeshua will continue to deliver you from. And the first thing is what we were talking about, morning by morning, sanctifying your mornings by going out and investigating, retrieving this manna. That's part one. That's one humble sacrifice. Okay. Then once you've gone out and retrieved it for yourself and your family, then you eat it. So you taste, see. The scripture says, taste and see that Adonai is good. Okay, so when you've brought that in, you've tasted it, you've brought that into yourself, then you're able to see. And then you agree with what the Spirit is showing you. Okay, so you taste and see in order to agree. That's part two. That's the second sacrifice. Okay, so this is meaning you agree with God and not your emotions when, say, your husband says something or your daughter says something and you want to return evil for evil. No, see, you're going to agree with what you tasted. You're going to humble yourself and you're going to speak in wisdom to this person and in great kindness and respect and truth. This is you dying to yourself. When you have the opportunity to return evil for evil, you say, no, I don't want the haughty eye. I want the low eye. And then this third part is very important. This is the third way for you to give yourself the low eye, to humble yourself so that you may receive from heaven, receive the things of heaven. And this is your sharing with the group. This is you're going to go out and you're going to retrieve it. Then you're going to taste, see, and agree with it all throughout that day. Then you're going to share yourself with others. You're not going to be stingy with yourself, because actually that is arrogance. When God has called us to be one, read John 17. Yeshua prayed, make them one as we are one. If a person in a group, if they aren't one, then they are divided, which is the natural state of mankind, to be divided. So you have to get over yourself, right? You have to humble yourself in order to become one with somebody else. And this is why your sharing is so important. This is why I stay on you to share what you've tasted and seen and what you're agreeing with, because you went out and retrieved. Okay? Because not sharing, again, is not to think about it. That word shock, and I don't know if I even got to say that earlier, but I'm pretty sure I did. Shin chet means to destroy the wall. This is the one way for you to destroy the wall. Destroy the walls that you built, is you share yourself with others. Okay? So you share yourself, you humble and sacrifice yourself and share yourself with the group. And this produces freedom, not only for you, but for others. This is the gateway opening for not only for you to be healed, for others to be healed. So this is that state of vulnerability where you learn to destroy the walls so that you may live. So I hope this makes sense. Remember that the two words I want you to remember is to humble. We cannot receive from heaven until we've humbled ourselves. God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. That means to stay in a constant state of need, looking intently to the Father. And then the second word, you got to destroy your walls. You destroy your walls so that you may have that low eye where you're able to receive from the kingdom and be healed, continually delivered. So I know this has gone a lot longer than what I had intended. May you go out this morning and retrieve. A funny thing I was thinking about this morning retrieval is, if morning by morning there is no retrieval, what you give yourself in your home is utter upheaval, and we don't want that. So you girls, shalom, have a beautiful day, and I will look forward to hearing your mishlei of this day. Baruch Hashem.